Greetings, heroes and Force users, and welcome back to Inside the Tauntauné podcast in the multiverse of fandom. As always, I'm Dino DeCandros, and I'm joined by my very good friends, Alyssa Simmons.
Hello.
And Daniel Dawson.
Hello there.
And today we are talking two more episodes of Agatha All Along. This is episode 3, Through Many Miles of Tricks and Trials, directed by Rachel Goldberg, written by Cameron Squires, Jack Schaefer, and Jason Rostovsky. And episode 4, If I Can't Reach You, Let My Song Teach You, directed by Rachel Goldberg, written by Giovanna Sarkis, Jack Schaefer, and Jason Rostovsky, and by God, we're Marvel fans.
I don't know who you are or where you came from.
I am Art.
I thought they smelled bad. On the outside.
Smells like a new car in here.
Inside the Tauntaun, this is our opening song. Alyssa, Daniel, Dino, talking nerd stuff, come along. Inside the Tauntaun podcast, please like and subscribe.
Hello there.
We're back, baby.
Hi, we're back.
And we are Marvel fans.
Yes.
Especially all of the gay folks right now. I think we're even more Marvel fans now.
Yeah, they know who they made this television
They
show
got us,
for.
baby. They got us.
All right.
We're in.
So I mean, perhaps we should start there.
Sure.
With the gays.
With
A very good place to start.
So in the past, this
Uh-huh.
isn't a criticism we alone have identified or made, but in the past, when the subject of
Gayness.
It's all right.
yes.
It's okay. You can say it.
I know, I'm just struggling here. No, when gay couples are
Uh-huh.
depicted on screen or hinted at on screen,
Yes.
it is often in the periphery or just alluded to.
Yeah.
How do you two feel about how Agatha has so far approached relationships?
I'm
in
happy
general?
about it because it just feels like they're like it's completely the opposite. They're not beating around the bush. They're just it's just there, which is how it should be. Like,
Yes.
because when you beat around the bush, you make us feel uncomfortable. Not just gay people, but everyone.
Well, and it feels like it's only there to tick off a box and then
Yeah, that
and then
too.
move on. So this feels like, I mean, it's an important part of the story.
Yeah,
So it's
totally.
not
At
only
least it
is
feels
it
like
just
it so
like
far.
yeah, not only is it just like there, it's also like
A pivotal plot point.
this relationship between the two of them is something,
Spicy,
and it's got a lot of history that we don't know about yet. So
and she's a witch. But yeah, I feel like I kudos for them for finally just doing something where it's like, you know, like in Schitt's Creek, where it's just like the relationship is everybody's like, yeah, that's normal.
Exactly
Nobody
right.
talks about it. It's just like that's a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, granted, they are like witches, and you could probably argue that, like, of course, the only time they'd ever do it is when they're witches. You know,
sure.
like.
Well,
but
we've
that's
gotten
fine.
a lot of lesbian witches this year.
We do.
Acolyte, and now this.
I mean,
We don't talk about Acolyte. It was canceled. You're
Oh
right.
yeah, I forgot.
We
Sorry.
don't talk about Acolyte.
It doesn't exist.
I
How
liked
sad.
it. I
It is
thought
sad.
it was nice. But yeah, it is very heartening to see. I mean, you know, hopefully they can take note, because I think that a lot of the queer folks out there are, you know, responding well to it.
Well, and speaking for the straight contingent,
Yes.
as offensive as I find it,
I'm offended.
no, I echo the sentiment of it. It just is,
Yeah.
and it actually makes. I honestly feel the exact same way. It makes me feel less uncomfortable, because it's like
Yes.
we're not. I'm just repeating exactly what you
Yeah,
said.
we're not tiptoeing.
yeah,
we're not
but-
tiptoeing
but-
around it.
or ticking a box, or you know,
'Cause when you
going
tiptoe
down your
around
checklist of inclusion, and it's just
Yes.
it's so obvious when that's done, and
Mm-hmm.
it's
When
not
you tiptoe around it, it's like you're you're already telling the audience that we don't think that this is right, so we're gonna tiptoe around it. You know what I mean? So it's even though you're not saying it out loud, by tiptoeing around it, you are saying it out loud. You're saying that, like, we're not supposed to talk about this, but here it is. These people are gay. Anyway. So yes.
Well, good.
Kudos.
I'm glad you are pleased with that development.
I am.
Oh, very pleased. Yes.
So we could start with episode 3, Through Many Miles of Tricks and Trials, and really from the outset of the season, they've continued the WandaVision theme of echoing other TV shows,
exploring different genres and TV shows.
And episode 3 is decidedly what we say, Good Housewives or not Good Housewives,
Desperate Housewives, or Big Little Lies.
Big Little Lies.
Yeah.
What did she
they
call
made a
it in the
joke about
show?
it. They called it. She's like, this is like huge
large...
tiny lies. Huge tiny lies.
That was right.
Yeah.
So
it was very, very that show. All of it. The set design, their costumes.
Yeah, I feel like even some of the music cues too.
Yes.
And so this was the Jennifer Kale episode.
Yes, this was her trial.
Yes, our
in a home right off her vision board.
That's right.
Our
bury me in that kitchen.
Witch.
Mrs. Hart.
Mrs. Hart. R.I.P.
And I was so sad too, and I realized after the fact, and it reminded me that in episode 4 that I really needed to pay attention, because like when people say something randomly, it and it feels random, it probably isn't random, because immediately when she walks into the home and starts running around, she like comes back in. She's like, "Oh my God, I want to get buried in that kitchen," and that's where she fucking dies. So sad.
Yeah.
So sad. Yeah. If they don't fucking bring back Mrs. Hart, I am going to burn down Disney Studios. But also,
I think she's gone.
Good for them for like actually murdering someone. That was pretty cool and sad.
And I don't think that'll be the last one.
No, probably not.
Certainly.
Well, I mean, we know from the last time that Agatha walked the road, she was the only one that made it through.
So much mystery. Yeah, it's just almost like I'm like playing out like a, which is fun that they started the first episode with like a CSI type of show, because it does feel like the whole thing is a murder mystery.
Right. So a big piece of information that we learn at the beginning of episode 3 is that we finally given a name to what is blocking Teen's ability to speak his name or anything about he, right?
Yeah, he.
Yes.
Yeah. There's been a sigil placed on him.
Yes.
And I was thinking about it, and is the word sigil used in WandaVision, or is just the imagery? Because there was a suggestion that Westview itself is kind of a sigil.
Oh,
that what she casts over Westview is a sigil.
That's interesting. I know that they use the word hex, I thought.
Yes.
Yeah, hex was thrown around a lot, but
I didn't know if sigil was new.
That's interesting. I mean, there were. Well, I don't know what they. Oh gosh, what did they? They didn't call them glyphs. What did they call them? Like all the, little witchy
runes.
markings.
Runes.
Yes, I remember the word
Cast
runes
a
being
rune,
thrown around.
Yeah.
Runes and hexes.
Right.
I don't know if I remember sigil, but I absolutely could imagine it being a thing.
So people are, I guess, and if you slow down the, my computer's freaking out. If you slow down the sigil, like the little like cursive that goes across his mouth.
Oh,
It looks like a W.
Oh yeah, definitely. Either that or an upside down M. But I mean, like that's kind of silly because like, why would they go to the? They just W.
I mean, It also, I mean, look, when I first saw it, it does look like an M to me. But
Mhm.
Mephisto, you think?
you said it. You said it. I didn't. I didn't say it.
Well,
Here.
they brought his actual name up in this episode, everybody.
in this episode, which is a big effing deal.
You hear the collective screams.
I screamed, and I screamed, and my parents were like, "What is it? Who is that? What does that mean?"
Why does it matter? I think
I was like, "You don't understand. We've been waiting for so long."
Yeah, and I mean, like, there's a world where they, because I have to keep reminding myself that we have been thrown numerous red herrings in the past.
Oh yeah, of
and,
course.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's the style of this.
I mean,
style of
Ralph
this show.
Boner for one.
Uh-huh.
And
It's hard to see. I'm looking at it right now. It's in some ways it looks like a W, and some it looks like an M. So
yeah, it depends on
that's what they did that
from
on
a different
purpose.
point of view. Yeah. So they're definitely doing it on purpose. And you'll find other like bips and boops. Well, we talked about it in the previous episode 2, I think. Yeah, when they're like in the living room and like he puts up the cute little like welcome witches sign, and then she tears it down and there's just a W left.
Yep.
And you're ooh, what does that mean? Who knows? But
another jumping ahead slightly, another important thing about sigils that we learned in episode 4
yes,
is that the witch who casts the sigil also doesn't have any memory of doing so.
Yeah.
So
and
that's good to know.
And I love the idea of that. It feels very Dungeons and Dragons-y.
Well, and it might, speaking of red herrings, it continues to lead us down the path that Teen is Agatha's son. But I'm not sure I believe that.
I don't think he is. I was leaning. I don't know. I'm mixed about it every single episode.
Well, because it does feel like it's they're very clearly alluding to that, so it makes me feel like they're trying to make us think that, which is maybe a redirect. But it could be exactly what it feels like, and it'll be, and that would be fine too. I'm more on the idea that potentially this kid who's probably Wiccan. This kid is has like the soul of like he's being sort of, what do you call it, inhabited by Nicholas Scratch in some way, and there's because I remember, and this is probably spoiler, I mean it's not a spoiler because we don't know what the fuck happens, but we've seen the trailer and it looks like there's some kind of like later on in some other episode there's some kind of like exorcism happening of Teen.
I haven't seen that, so I don't know.
He's like sort of like in agony, and she's like doing this thing. I don't know. I'm probably reading into it too much, but yeah.
But it was interesting to see how the other witches reacted to. I mean, I think Patty
to the idea of that.
I think Patty had the line like, "Somebody's put a sigil on this boy."
Oh, yeah.
And the kind of like, sort of, you can see all the wheels turning in their head. Like, okay, well, who is this person then that, some witch didn't want other witches to know about him.
Well, and there's an immediate distrust for Agatha because none of them like her. And
right.
Obviously.
Yeah, and so it's just the identity is what has the sigil. And
any details about him too, because when she
where
was
he's from, and
when she was trying to ask him where he was from and stuff, like it just went completely silent.
Which is interesting too, because I'm trying to draw parallels to WandaVision as well, but like when Wanda was under the hex, and they were like Mrs. Hart and Mr. Hart were asking them about their, like, when did you get married? When you're having kids? And they're just like, what where did we come from? And they're like
Mhm.
really, you know, like it's like this collective amnesia sort of thing. I don't know if it's related, but but God, I just watched that first episode again, and it's so creepy. And like Mrs. Harkle being like, "Stop it, stop it, stop it," over and over
Yeah.
again. Oh, it's so scary. But also, what was I just gonna say about the sigil? Oh, the fact that in order to be destroyed, or in order to get rid of it, it has to be destroyed. Which, in order to do that, you have to. It's basically when it's not needed anymore. Is that what she basically said? It was basically
She said the sigil would go away when it was not necessary anymore.
So
when it had served its purpose.
And it was actually kind of a very sweet thing. I mean, I'm not sure if Agatha is like, you know, just trying to turn it into a positive, but like the fact that we're going to learn who this person is without the name, like, you know, like
Yes.
your name isn't what's important, it's what's inside that's important, kind of thing.
Yeah. Another nod to potentially him being Wiccan or Billy is when they arrive at the, what did they say?
House.
The Pretty Little Big Little Lies, whatever the hell that show is called.
The beach house.
Huge
We'll call it.
Tiny Lies. He mentions that it's the water phase on the door.
The moon. It's the moon is the full moon, which is the water phase, apparently.
Yeah. And yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they
that's
get
all I
in
got
there. They start looking around. She wants to get buried in the kitchen. They find the wine.
Yes, there's the riddle, my age has value, I'm no fun alone. And
I mean, I wouldn't say no fun alone. I mean, I don't necessarily drink by myself, but I mean, I'll enjoy a glass of wine now and then.
You could still have fun, okay?
You're
That
allowed
riddle
to.
is stupid. That riddle is
I think
dumb.
it should have said like it's more fun with friends. Although they probably just didn't. It didn't rhyme. Didn't rhyme.
It didn't rhyme. So they discover pretty quickly that they have been poisoned.
yes.
And
Although Mrs. Hart takes 2 doses. Oops.
she does, and that was their fatal flaw in the anecdote because she only received
1 dose.
1 dose.
There was also some speculation out there too, because like, you know, in the process of her making the potion in the end, like, you know, they were taking a hair from each of their heads.
Oh, and she didn't do that.
Yeah, it wasn't explicitly shown like them plucking a hair from her head, so she may have
Could
just
have been
gotten
that, too.
forgotten. Oops. It's so funny too, because like me and my friend were watching it together. It was just like, Mrs. Hart, fucking get Mrs. Hart. We're like screaming.
I know. There's like 2 seconds left on the timer.
Yeah. Oh God.
I thought it was very funny that they we'll go back and talk about some of the hallucinations, but I thought it was very funny that their portal out of there was the oven.
Yeah,
that's a very
on the nose,
very witchy thing.
You
know,
I love it.
Hansel
and
and
then
Gretel.
the fact that she talked about, I mean, we're getting these fun little witch nods here and there of like what we believe to be like fables, but they're like, I mean, you could probably argue that she's joking about it, but she seems pretty serious. Like the freaking what's her face? What's her character's name? Oh God, Patty.
Oh, Lilia.
Lilia, thank you. Lilia is talking about her like good friend that died in an oven. Like it was about like Hansel and Gretel.
Yes.
Yeah. So apparently Hansel and Gretel exists in the MCU, I guess.
I mean, why not at this point?
Why not?
I mean, on the
Baba Yaga,
road potentially. Maybe it's something she heard about on the road. You know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So.
So yeah, some of these hallucinations. Speaking of Lilia, she sees this. She sees. I think the maiden is what people are thinking that it is. It's the maiden from the triple goddess brooch that Agatha is wearing.
Interesting.
It looks. It appears to be like a young Lilia.
being sort of like overshadowed by a very spooky
with undead.
in the background.
Yeah. So it looks like I'm looking at this photo, and it looks like young Lilia is wearing a brooch.
So she is
I don't know.
the
But the
potential
hallucination is her aging very quickly and then becoming sort of like a
corpse.
really spooky corpse situation.
Yeah. So we're assumedly, at least it feels like we're seeing just little snippets of these people's, like they're being haunted by their past, like each of them. At first, I thought they were just like random hauntings of
or
like
fears.
I think it's the fear thing, because
the fear thing. Like face your fears.
Yeah, the trials are meant to be like their deepest fears.
Yeah,
that was set up in episode 2, I think.
But these definitely, if not in totality, have bits of their backstory. And
yeah, they are plot devices.
I mean,
Yes.
the one with Jen is the most troubling.
Oh God!
To me. I mean, we're talking
her mother like burning alive or whatever. Yikes!
Well, he gets attacked by or she gets attacked by
that doctor.
Oh, that part. Sorry. Yes.
And drowning her in the sink.
Yeah, calling her an inconvenient woman.
Yeah.
And I think he's the one that potentially stripped her of her power.
I think she kind of says as much in episode 4 too. If you want, we can jump ahead to that because she does kind of talk about it.
When they're all sitting around the campfire.
Yes, talking about their battle wounds, which I really thought that was a fun scene. She said that she was a midwife and something else, midwife and a something. And a midwife is basically a person who like helps you have your baby in a like a healthy way, basically, right?
In a holistic way.
Yeah, like in a pool or something.
In a tub.
In a tub. Right.
Tub births are big with midwives.
Oh man, have you ever seen it on YouTube? It is fun.
So.
Yeah, and so I guess he maybe worked with. Oh no, she came to visit him. Like she went to some event.
She made it seem like that she was invited there under false pretenses.
Right.
She thought she was working with them or speaking there or something, and then she was stripped of her power.
To me, it sounds like. I mean, my guess is that this is an allegory of basically every it's a female story about women like that show
any sort of power.
Yeah, literally that. Yes. Or knowledge or whatever, because knowledge is power. But like smart women that are doing things differently.
Really scares people sometimes. Yeah.
So, assumedly this doctor, is giving birth to women, the old fashioned way. And then this lady, Jennifer, comes around and she's basically taking all of his business by doing it in a more healthy, holistic way. Right. And that is why he's calling her an inconvenient woman. And it's like, I'm just going to end this so that I can get all the business back.
Well, and drowning her too. It's like, one of the classic ways that witches were killed. Right?
Classic witch killing.
Drowning, burning, or hanging. So, so that was hers and Lilia's hallucination.
Spooktastic.
And then we have
Spooky dooky.
And then we have Alice's hallucination in the sauna.
Yeah, and hers to me was really unnerving.
Yeah. Yeah, and we obviously learned a lot more about that in episode
Mhm.
4, specifically with the family curse, the tattoo that her mom made her get when she was 13 or whatever,
Her protection spell.
and yeah, and then teen makes an interesting comment about a lot happened to me at 13 too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to keep in the back of your brain, probably.
Very interesting.
Or not. Or it's just useless information.
Yes, right.
A red herring, because I mean, a lot of interesting things happen to literally everyone when
The
we were
red herrings
13.
are red herrings
Just gonna
now.
play Mephisto's advocate on everything that we say.
Oh my god.
Huh?
But yeah, her hallucination was her mom weeping about her grandmother passing away.
Right.
And then she screams, "I can't protect you."
Yeah, the killer is coming for you.
Ooh. So I mean, now that we know what happens in episode 4, I think we can sort of we can kind of allude. I think we're alluded to that the grandma was killed by the curse, or at least she
Yes.
believes that to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll get more into the nitty gritty of episode 4, but yeah, really, I just think it's really interesting storytelling, the way that they're
Yeah.
kind of weaving everything in, because they're laying out this information, and sometimes when you find out about something in the next episode, it feels like, oh, that wasn't really like earned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the way that they're doing it is so thoughtful and clever
Yeah.
that I'm like, the fact that we learned, like, specifically what her mom's ballad was for.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's very
One
sweet
episode
and
later.
so tragic too.
Yeah. I mean, really, really interesting that basically this, like, luckily it became a big hit so that it was able to be a protection spell for her
Right.
her whole life. Just interesting.
And Patty keeps like having Tourette's, and
She does.
it's very important Tourette's too. And I keep forgetting
Maybe.
about it, and I'm like, oh god. She makes me nervous every time. She...
I think I said this last week, but I as far as performances go, I still think Patty's the best.
oh,
she's
I'm-
so great in
she's
this.
excellent.
So I
She's
say that
really
with the sound
so
of
great in
surprise,
this.
which I don't mean. But
Well, because sometimes she's just like ridiculous Patty on
yeah.
yeah,
in television specifically.
Mm-hmm.
she's
Which you
so
could argue she's also being in this too, but I guess
No,
it turns
this
out
is-
that she is a witch. Patty LuPone is a witch. And
Is,
she,
in fact.
she has now found her like
who hates when you take photographs in the theater.
She does.
taking pictures.
Who do you think you are?
You were told at intermission.
No, but her
I
performance is so
appreciate. I like. I like that she says appreciate, not appreciate, but
Oh,
but,
appreciate.
her performance is
she's-
so grounded and fleshed out, and
I feel like
It's
I
because
feel
she's
like
a witch. She's an actual witch.
I feel like maybe her trial is next. What do
Yes.
y'all think?
I could imagine that. Yeah, in the hierarchy of the witches. I mean, obviously Agatha's is going to be last. I mean,
Yeah.
that would be weird if it wasn't.
Yeah, because we still have
2 more.
now
right?
we've done Jen
Oh, 3
and
more.
Alice.
Yes.
So there's
So
still
we've got Patty and we've got
Lulu,
Patty, Aubrey Plaza,
Rio
and
Vidal,
Rio, and Agatha.
well, yeah, and Rio's is going to be very interesting because of and I guess I don't know. Do we want to talk about Rio right now, or do you want to finish off?
Should we
Let's
finish
off
episode 3?
episode 4.
Yeah. So
Sorry, 3.
the final hallucination is
Agatha's.
Agatha's, and
Oh God, and hers is very spooky.
yeah. So we get a little fleshed out that something happened to her child,
baby.
and the
Yeah.
rumor that they've alluded to in previous episodes was that she abandoned her child to gain control of the Darkhold.
child.
I've abandoned my boy. But that she
The Book of the
abandoned her
Damned,
child
right?
to get the Darkhold, and
Right.
And
whether or not
she's not fighting the allegations right now.
Ew. And well, it's what's interesting too, and I'm wondering if that's a coping mechanism, because it doesn't, because we kind of go back and forth to her being like genuinely like what looks like concerned about like her child, and also for the teen, which is why it's a little confusing about like who the teen actually is.
Well, she obviously has, and there's that moment that we can talk about in a little bit, but
yeah,
she obviously feels like it's him.
Yeah, they're because they're even since episode 1 when
when he got hit by the car.
Exactly right.
That or if it's a red herring that they're actually related, it could be her as a way of I did fail my child and I'm not going to fail this one.
Yeah, I can easily
chance.
believe that too. Yeah, it's her second chance. Yeah.
In the hallucination, in Agatha's hallucination, they framed it really, really similar to when Wanda has to see Vision's dead body.
Yeah. Interesting.
In at Sword in WandaVision,
right.
she's like looking over him. It's framed like very, very similar. So,
very interesting. Huh.
So
that's intriguing.
And
honestly, I just like overall, I don't know if I'd be disappointed, but it is kind of like it was a dream the whole time. I just, that trope, if like this is part of Wanda's revenge on Agatha, like she's like, I'm gonna make Agatha go through the pain and the and she's this whole thing is just her illusion.
Oh, the entire thing, like the Witch's Road and everything.
Thing, yeah.
Oh God, that would be pretty. I mean, that's something. But I think the Witch's.
I doubt it's that. But I mean, I think
because I think the Witch's Road is.
It
just is. It is.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think it would be the sort of a. I think that would be too much of a reach.
Yeah.
But I mean, you do raise a good point that Agatha is experiencing full well what
Wanda went through.
Wanda went through. So
yeah.
I wonder if there will be grief. Kinship in the future if Wanda is indeed alive, which we suspect that she is.
Mm-hmm.
That
we're continuing the theme of grief and dealing with that, whatever that is.
Yeah, I'm very sorry to tell you this, but I'm a dummy and I need to plug my computer in. So
it's all right. We're just gonna go.
So you can keep talking.
So now the real discussion begins.
Yeah, finally we can talk about what we're really going to talk about. It's the fact that Alyssa is the worst podcaster on the face of the planet.
So they have to brew an antidote lest everyone here
Oh, you
dies.
wanted to actually talk about it for real.
I mean, yeah. I'm not waiting for anyone. She can catch up.
They're brewing the potion.
They're brewing the potion, and they need to collect all of the ingredients, but they have to kind of use their ingenuity to figure out what does this house have that contains all of this.
That was fun. I liked that.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Yeah,
we've now moved on to the potion. We're talking about the potion.
Great.
Yes, and the fact that they're getting all the ingredients from like household products, which is great, and it's a fun because I mean, again, we're learning about like actual witch, like why, because people would get it confused. Like it'd be like the eye of Newt and all these spooky ingredients, but it's really just like fucking essential oils.
What has petroleum in it? Vaseline.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it's not as spooky as it sounds.
No.
Still hang them, but
right, and burn them and drown them, of course. But
yeah, obviously,
right.
By all means. So they get the potion ready. Agatha has a moment with Jen that's interesting. Where she,
I hate you, but I believe in you.
I hate you, but like I didn't shut you down because I actually do believe in what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah,
You
it
can
was
believe
actually
it when
kind
I
of
say it
touching.
because I think you're awful. So very
Because like the
interesting
power's
time.
been inside you the whole time. You just had to believe.
Right.
And really, like there's again, we're getting so many Wizard of Oz references.
Oh yes.
So I mean, like, you know, if there is a parallel to Wizard of Oz, it's probably very purposeful. So, you know, lean into it. Because like this, you know, it's like it's not exactly the same, but I mean, but Dorothy just learning at the very end, like, you had the power to go home the whole time, you know? Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff going on.
Yes.
It's true.
So they've
true.
completed the potion, but we discover it is missing an ingredient.
Oops.
They've plucked hairs. They've done all of that nonsense. They need blood from the unpoisoned. The unpoisoned. And lucky for us, Teen is the only one who has not had
Drunk.
the wine to drink.
Makes you think, like, did they all need to drink the wine?
I think so because they're the coven. They all
Right.
have to. They all have to
The
participate in
coven
the trial.
has to participate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if they didn't already have the seeds of doubt when Agatha tries to cheat it, and
Right.
Yes.
and
right.
that really starts to change or
And then
open
the
Teen's eyes. Teen starts to grow up a little bit. I feel like in this episode
Mhm.
where it's not all I don't
Fun
know.
and games.
Yeah, and Agatha is very selfish and
Right. She's not playing
self-serving
by the
person.
rules.
No,
Never.
always looking for a way out, and
That sneaky little witch.
perhaps that's what Teen's entire role in this show is to the only way is through, and whether Teen is her son or not, I think she's going to learn the lesson that the only way to face down whatever happened is to walk through it.
And that
Yeah.
seems to be the message of, well, maybe just the whole show, but it definitely leans really hard into that in episode 4. That
Yes.
like, you know, the only way to break the curse is by facing it. Yeah.
No half-assing the trials.
Mm-hmm.
So
Again, we're just learning life lessons in this show.
And then,
So-
as this episode ends, we kind of already talked about it, but Sharon doesn't make it.
Sharon doesn't make it. She did. She did.
And the group here we are learning lessons. The coven has to look out for one another, and Mrs. Hart was forgotten, number one,
Mhm.
and then Jen didn't take into account that she had 2 glasses, and
Yep.
it's the attention to details that
That'll get you.
could be their undoing.
Mm-hmm.
But then we get into episode 4, and we get the sort of conversation about whether or not they even needed 5, like, for the whole thing, like, you know, and
They needed
and
5 to get in there, but
right, but
Yeah,
do we
that's
need
what
5 to
Wanda's
leave?
saying. That not Wanda, Agatha.
Agatha.
We keep doing that. Yeah, she was saying she was trying to like change a lyric of the song.
Yeah, she said it's the coven 2.
The coven
She's like, no, it's the
2.
coven through.
Coven through.
Coven through? No,
I
coven.
think it was. Yeah, I think it was something like that.
Yeah, coven true.
Ah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we pretty much go straight into.
I also went back to the actual lyrics, and it is coven true, not coven 2. So she's definitely
Agatha's
wrong.
lying.
yes,
She's a liar. She's a liar. But she does say, and granted, this could also be a lie, or maybe she remembered it wrong. But when at the end of the road, when she said that she went the first time, she was the only one left, right?
Yes.
So
it's like, oh well, that's great. That's good. That's good news.
Good to know. Good to
super.
know.
But they decide as a group that they do need a 5th. So instead,
Yeah, they're going to summon a green witch and hope that
in the
that
creepiest way
works.
possible.
And
I hope she's good looking.
Yeah,
And
it's so funny. Like, please let her be good looking.
not what did she say? And not overly political or something.
and not political.
Also great. Yes. So funny. I think that's like a truly like if you're again, this is like the female story. Like I think it's just everybody's wish that like bringing a friend into a friend group, like just let them
Just
not
be cool,
too
man.
political.
Just
Just be
be
cool.
cool.
Don't
be
be
cool.
political. Be pretty.
Be pretty.
And be pretty.
So Aubrey Plaza crawls out of the ground.
So yeah,
So
and the
scary.
way Rio appears, the imagery is very similar to Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah,
when Wanda
very-
crawls through the portal and her
Oh,
Yeah,
limbs
it's all
kind of
just-
crack into
Yeah, cracking and
Yeah, and the reflection stuff. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Uh-huh.
and
And
she comes
she's
out.
nuts.
Woo woo woo.
She's Coco for Cocoa Puffs.
Yes,
For
she
Cocoa
is.
Puff.
And she is now in a different costume now too, which is
Yeah,
interesting.
she's got green eyeliner and some leaves on her costume.
Yeah, very
Dawn, we now
poison-
are gay
yeah.
apparel. She is in.
Dawn, we now are gay apparel.
She is. She's in green. She
She's
was
now
in
the
black.
she's now the Poison Ivy
She's
of the
Poison
From
Ivy.
Marvel
MCU.
Universe. Yeah.
Yes. Gosh. Okay. So, do we talk about Rio now, or do we still talk about it later? I am itching to talk about Rio. And
Well, in that case, let's talk later.
okay. Good.
Well, let's get through the trial since that's the meat of
I got
the
a
episode.
fever.
The only solution is more
More Rio.
Rio.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, let's get through the trial. So that
Yeah.
this house appears,
Mhm.
and Alice immediately is like, "Yeah, we're not doing
We're just not
that."
gonna do that because she obviously recognizes.
Yes.
She knows that house. She knows that place.
Mhm.
And
I'm curious if it is like because did they ever really make that like evidently clear that it was a house that she recognized, or it was just like, oh, I have a feeling I'm pretty sure that this is going to be for me and I don't want to do it.
I feel like it was her house growing
Yeah,
up.
that's the vibe that I got too. But I don't think they ever said that, right? Am I
No.
crazy?
No, but just the way she reacted, you know that the house is of some.
She recognized something about that
Importance.
house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they try to go a different way on the road, and then the house reappears on the other side. So
They're going,
they got to go in there.
and the moon phase has changed.
Yeah, now we're in the
Has.
fire.
Now we're in the fire.
Fire
phase.
phase.
It sounds like it would
And-
make a really cool video game.
Fire phase.
Mm-hmm. Just this whole Witches Road thing.
Oh, the whole plot of the
Yeah.
show? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they walk through, and they are all automatically transformed into absolutely amazing
70s rock stars.
Yeah, late 60s, early 70s glam.
They even say we're an
Mhm.
album cover waiting to happen.
Yeah, I gotta say the production design for this episode in particular was just fantastic.
Yeah.
Well,
The
I read
whole-
this week that this is the show that has cost them the least
How
Interesting,
Because,
because they're using practical sets
by far, because they went very, very practical. They do.
Yeah.
They
Those
haven't
silly,
spent much
silly
on CG.
ninnies. I hope they learn something.
Yeah.
Well, it looks awesome.
It does.
It
I mean,
really does.
It's like, I mean, it's pretty clear that they're on a soundstage, but like, it's so
Oh, yeah.
charming, and it fits the
Yes.
style of the show. You
Yes.
know, yeah, it's exactly what it needs to be. And
Yeah.
I'm glad it's cheaper. I really hope they
And
figure
it's
that
certainly
shit out.
no accident they made Patty LuPone look like Liza Minnelli.
Liza.
Yeah,
I mean, that
literally,
was-
Liza Minnelli.
just
I like
so
immediately
good.
screamed it. I was just like, Patty LuPone is Liza Minnelli.
Yeah, the wig was perfect. The whole outfit was perfect, and even the makeup design giving her bottom lashes as well. It
Yes.
just was like the attention to detail was so awesome.
And Alice is like Janis Joplin for sure.
Yeah, Catherine
like,
Hahn,
little
Agatha
glasses.
looked like Stevie Nicks. Like it was
Totally.
just like, total girl power 70s rock star.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just the set design of that house was really, really great. I thought it looked awesome.
And I love the idea, again, coming back to the theme of just like the power of like a group of people and art, like people coming together to experience art, like that being like a coven in itself, you know. Like talking about Alice's mom and her fans being her coven, and like them trying to open the door to the Witch's Road by her music. I was like, that's such a cool concept. I never even considered something like that.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Well, and then I think that that's what Alice thought. And then ultimately we learn that the whole reason for everything was this protection spell.
Yes. So that it was just I mean, it's like such a long con. It's just like, I don't know why, like she felt like she couldn't just tell that to her child. Like, I'm making this spell to protect you. But it's just such a sweet, sweet thing that she wanted all of her fans to know this song so that anywhere in the world, wherever she could be, she would hear somewhere somebody would be singing that song so that she would always be protected in some way. Yeah. Very, very, very sweet.
And I think it's at the end of the episode, but I really liked the line Lilia has of sad is better than angry.
Yeah.
It's a great line.
Yeah. I mean, truly, you know, you learn in therapy, that therapy, in other words.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
needed you to say that again.
Thank you.
Like, wait, just in case people don't know what I'm talking about. In therapy, oftentimes, if not all the times, anger is just a sort of cover for sadness.
Yeah, and ultimately anger is useless.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Feel your anger. And that's coming from somebody who
flies off the handle. I've seen Daniel on a real bender.
I've had so many bruises.
Jesus.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so we're kind of thrust into this thing that we've got some smaller scenes, but it's pretty obvious right from the moment they're in the house and see that there's a full recording studio and set up that
this is going to be a music.
Well, and there's that whole sequence again. I'm singling out Patty where they're walking through the house and they see all this. Or she sees these panels on the wall of witches being tortured and burned and murdered, and it just really makes her quite distraught
because she's remembering something,
right? And I think was it Alice who sees the death mask or the
spooky devil mask?
Jen.
I'm sorry, it was Jen looking at the death mask.
Which I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but I mean, they may have just been a trick of the camera or whatever. It, like, she kind of like zooms in on this one particular devil mask, and I swear to God, it looks like there's eyeballs in it. Yeah. And then they kind of goes back to it, and then the lighting has changed or something, but then there's the eyeballs are not there. It's really subtle.
Yeah.
But I think that she gets the feeling, or at least I got the feeling that they're being watched.
Well, yeah, it's that. I think it's the curse. I think the curse is
is there.
They're watching.
Yeah. A demon.
We have a scene with Rio and Agatha, where Agatha knows that she's right by the little like PA system.
Clever little witch,
right?
And kind of, you know, turns it on so that the other witches and teen can hear that.
Yes, say it once
Rio
again.
Is like, really, you know, you're going to take everyone's power, and then I will get their bodies. Yeah, so
that was quite the lore drop. Like, whoa.
Well, that being the lore drop, and then Agatha appealing to Rio, saying, you know, can we, you know,
before she hit the PA
again,
system, like
adventure.
let's do this. Like let's have some fun again.
Yeah, let's get back to brass tacks. And let me rub your boobs.
Please.
Which, again, jumping forward, and maybe this is your time, Daniel.
Here we go.
To Rio it up, but Rio's they're all talking about their scars, and Rio says, you know, essentially my scar.
My scar is Agatha.
Is Agatha. And another big lore drop. You know, she basically says that she had to do something. She was working for something and she did something that she didn't want to do.
Mhm.
But she had to because she was like,
Because Mephisto made her.
It's kind of what it sounds like. I mean, you could probably say that maybe you could also say that potentially it was Agatha that made her do it, but
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case. I think that
Yeah.
that Agatha wanted the Darkhold. Agatha wanted the Darkhold, and she unknowingly had to give up something very dear to her, which was her fucking child. But I don't think that I'm imagining that Agatha like isn't that much of a cold-hearted bitch where she just is like, yeah, just fucking take my child. I want the Darkhold.
Yeah.
I think that happened very much unlike that she didn't want that to happen. And
Absolutely.
I think that
Of course.
She
Rio
didn't give anything up willingly.
Yes, and Rio being an agent of Mephisto, we'll just say, was, you know, asked to do that. Like, yeah, go do my bidding, take the child, and
Although I'm curious though, I'm not sure Agatha. If that's how it went down, I'm not sure Agatha's looking to
No,
back
if she
get back
if she were
together,
to
so
know
speak.
that if she were to know that that was Rio's, but maybe she doesn't know. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
but
she
maybe
doesn't know.
And I think that kind of is what the vibe I got. But I will. Okay, so do we want to get into kind of potentially spoilery territory? Because
You mean like speculation spoilery?
well, I don't know. I mean, it's more than a rumor. It's a rumor, a legend, a mystery. About a toy that recently came out, of specifically a Funko Pop, Agatha Funko Pops that are
I don't know about
that
this.
were announced.
If you don't know what Funko Pops are, you've seen them. They're the giant headed.
Giant headed.
They're the little like
bobbleheads.
bobblehead toys.
Very adorable. Too expensive.
Yeah, they're like the Beanie Babies of the age. But
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, they're going to be worth millions someday, I'm sure. Well,
I mean, I have one signed by Elizabeth Olsen that's definitely worth
oh wow.
things now.
oh
Yeah.
well, that's very exciting. Is it literally just Elizabeth Olsen?
Yeah,
like,
it's an
or-
Elizabeth Olsen Funko Pop.
like,
Yeah,
not even
just
as
in
a
her-
character.
Just in a jeans and
From
t-shirt.
Godzilla, just her character from Godzilla.
Cool. Neat.
That's awesome.
Okay. Well, okay. Listen, if you don't want to hear what I'm about to say, just
Skip
like
ahead.
yeah, skip ahead like 5 minutes.
5? Daniel,
Well,
no.
God.
maybe just like a minute.
Absolutely not 5 minutes.
Yeah, 10
Okay,
seconds.
fine, just a minute. Okay, so for the
10
people that are still
seconds for your
here,
TikTok theory.
yeah, for the
Thank you.
one person that's still here listening to our podcast,
Okay, go ahead.
the Funko Pop that has come on to, I don't know if it's for sale yet, but that has been announced at least. Rio's character is Death.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yes, the MCU version of Death. And
I mean, the fact that they brought up her wanting the bodies and that she tried to almost take Teen.
yeah,
led me
she's
to-
like, no, please don't. Yeah,
yeah, she's death.
Yeah, so, and
I-
you look at the tarot card of Death, which they were using as like, you know, promotional material for the show. The Death has the same kind of like black hood that she's wearing, and she has
Right.
the
Mhm.
same like squiggly dagger.
Yeah.
It's the same vibe, and yeah. So if she's not. She's Death, but she may be other things too. But she's also
Well,
Death.
we had talked about the potential for them to maybe combine
Yeah.
Characters.
story origins or
Uh-huh.
I like to
character
do that.
traits into. But yeah, I don't see that.
Well,
as
yeah, I think
implausible.
last time we talked, we were like, we're not exactly sure which way they're going with Rio.
Right.
So,
Well, and the fact that I mean, like, and it kind of you know, it does. If that is what is true, then it does make you ask more questions. Like, well, then how is she able to sort of fill in for the Green Witch? Is that sort of a you know, she doesn't just say that I'm not a green witch. I am the green witch.
And then she, and then
Just
she
such a
mentions
funny
that, as always, magic takes the path of least resistance.
Oh,
And
right.
so there's something larger at work. Her role here is
Yeah,
there's
big
something
time.
the larger at work.
Yeah,
More
yeah.
universal at work.
So shall we pop back to the trial?
Yes.
Get that wrapped up.
Welcome back,
So-
everybody.
Yeah, thank you. If you skipped ahead a minute, it was like a minute 30. So
Oh,
there
wow.
you go.
Good for
Good
us.
on you.
So yeah, they figure out that they are going to need to play the, Fleetwood Mac version.
Fleetwood
of
Mac
down
cover.
the Witch's Road.
Yes.
Which I prefer it to.
I do too. I think it's
because
a
it
better
doesn't sound
song.
like Frozen.
It's a bop.
I
doesn't sound like a Disney
literally
song.
said the same thing. I was like, this is the song. Like I've added it to my Spotify. Like
I'm
it
sure
is
you
the
have.
song.
I
it's
feel
good.
like I hope we're gonna hear more versions of it. But yeah, this is probably my favorite version so far. I like it.
Yeah, it's great. So they're a band. They're playing it.
And Patty LuPone's like, oh, I don't play any instruments. I only play the weird
The
ones.
phone is playing the triangle. It's good.
And like
good.
the little itty bitty cymbals. Ting.
Yeah, which is a lie because I saw Patty LuPone play Mrs. Lovett and she played the tuba
Oh,
in that.
right.
So
Right.
But before they start playing, we have the sequence where Jen gets attacked by the curse, and they have to
Yes.
draw the protective circle around her, and then
With the
now they all have this kind of scar.
well,
they
and
do it
Speaking
with
of
the
scars.
dagger that Rio has, which is an interesting clue.
Well, and they ask her, "Did you bring the curse in with you?" And she's like, "I thought they were birthmarks." Like,
Yeah. I didn't know. I didn't believe. But now she's a firm believer.
Yeah.
This episode.
For sure.
And then you had the nice little bit. This is rewinding a little bit when they find the record on the turntable and it starts playing
Yes.
backwards.
Yikes.
And you have the demonic voice, which back in the '60s there was a fear that rock and roll artists were creating
Brainwashing you. Mhm.
demonic music if played backwards.
Yes.
So that
There was
a
one in
nice nod to that.
particular that if you did play it backwards, you heard it. I mean, you do kind of have to like. I think if you wrote it out and like read it as it was happening, you were like, "Oh yeah, that's what it says." But it's kind of a stretch. It sounds like they're saying like Satan, like Satan. But yeah, that was a real thing. People were actually scared that rock and roll music was the devil's work.
Yeah. And before, we should say also before, in the midst of, the several witches being affected by this curse, Teen gets flown through some glass and
Oops.
it seems to be okay. But then you see during the concert.
Oh, and his
that
look is like
there's
Barry
a-
Mick Jagger, by the way, with his like fur jacket.
Oh, yeah. Or Freddie Mercury.
Oh,
Like,
sure.
yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, he's got a very sharp piece of glass sticking out of his belly.
Oops.
But they are able to get through the song, and
Yeah, what a trooper for not talking about it until the song is
he's
over.
like, I'm not going to bring it up.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bring it up.
I'm sure it's fine.
Again, going back to the theme of the only way is through, and they all endure very severe pain.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Teen being the best example of that.
Yep.
And they get through the song, and the curse is destroyed.
Yeah. Well, and we get to see the curse and which is
Scary.
very spooky. It kind of reminded me of
Spirit Halloween.
yeah. it was a little Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
It was.
Yeah. It was very funny.
Pulpy.
But also very spooky at the same
Yes.
time. Yes.
Yeah, I went with it. I just
Yeah.
was like, all right, that's what this is. Okay, that's okay.
Yeah, it's great. But I mean, it pretty clearly, at least the depiction, it is making us believe that it's from hell. At least it looks like it.
It's very demonic,
Right.
whatever it is.
Yeah, demonic in architecture, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. And with all the flames and stuff on
Yeah,
the sides
right.
and
They're alluding to something. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my God! Speaking of hell, sorry, really quick, but going back to Rio, because she did say also she made like a coy little thing about like, oh, I came from up there or down there, like she was like joking about the direction of which she came.
Mm-hmm.
It's like she came from hell. She came from hell. Anyway,
so Teen is severely wounded, and interesting that Lilia suggests they leave him.
Yeah, that was okay.
And you have to start to wonder once they overheard what Rio was telling Agatha. Now they're like, oh, we know how you think
every
this
witch,
is going to
every
go.
witch for herself.
Right. So we'll see.
They're able to get him outside. Jen does another little potion. There's the moment that we talked about where Rio seems to be kind of coming for Teen, and Agatha is begging her to not.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Begging Jen to help him.
Yeah, which is a moment of clarity for her. And then we have what I like told my friend that I was watching it with. I was like, oh, this is like exactly like what is it called? Oh God, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Like the moment where they're like fixing the bullet wound.
Yes.
With the Grail. Almost like the same thing.
Yes.
Like in the same spot even on on his body, which I thought was also very interesting. I was like, I don't know if that was a tip of the hat or if it was like it's not supposed to be a parallel, or is it? I don't know.
No,
but I don't think so.
Yeah, it was just a fun coincidence.
They are able to. Jen is able to heal him,
which is pretty cool.
It's very cool, given that she has not had power.
Yeah, but it turns out that she did the whole time. She just thought that she did.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. So then we get, Agatha is like watching over Teen as he rests. The other gals are having their fire chat, which we talked about.
Fireside chats.
And, Agatha comes over, shows her, she has a scar on her elbow, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she talks about not a knitting needle, right? Or something?
No, it was a knitting needle from the she received from the Daughters of Liberty.
The Daughters
of Liberty.
Do you
Do you know
who
who they are?
And they're like, no, exactly.
Exactly.
Very funny.
But interesting, her conversation with Teen, though. You get a very nice moment, but also the moment that kind of made me believe he's not actually her son, but this is them just her motherly instinct coming out for Teen. But
right.
But she drops the line, you don't have to know someone's name to know who they really are, or to know them.
I thought one of the most interesting things that came out of that conversation was just the fact that the Teen asked the question to Agatha, did you put the sigil on me? Which is such an interesting question to ask. I mean, I guess, I don't know. I feel like if some witch did this to you, probably. I mean, because it's a thing that witches do, I guess, the sigil. And maybe since he's learned that, he's just like, well, you're a witch and you seem like a likely culprit. Did you do it? But I mean, it still feels kind of like interesting, almost like as if he like maybe in the back of his head that he knows something or something. You know what I mean?
Could be.
Did you guys get that vibe, or was it just kind of like, yeah, we're here talking about stuff?
I think he's just like, I think he's curious
Just
at
searching
this
for
moment.
answers.
Like
he could have asked it to any of the witches, and she just happened to be the one that was sitting there.
Yep.
Yeah, and then he asks her, what happened to your son?
Oh, right.
And then she's like, and we're done.
That hit a sour note. She didn't like that question. She doesn't know where to sit now, because then she goes and sits with the with the girls, and then Rio says her story.
Drops the bomb. Yeah.
She's like, I don't like this either, so I'm. She's like, I don't know where to sit now.
And then we get some gay witch hugs.
Gay witch hugs.
Thought we were maybe going to get a kiss there, didn't, but
yeah, they're saving it.
I'm still holding out.
We did get a lick of a hand, though. That was pretty sensual.
Yeah,
there
but
was blood,
I wanted like a sweet, tender forest kiss. I didn't want a licking.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But
that's interesting too, because I mean, since we know that Rio is capable of healing, because she did it to Agatha with her tongue, she refused to do it to the teen. Well, I don't know if she refused; she just didn't bother. And then, yeah, like she could have helped the teen, but
potentially,
didn't.
Yeah. But she wanted his body, I think.
I want that body. But it's interesting, too, because, like, in that moment, we never really got I don't think we ever got her, like, walking towards him, like, as if she was going to do something. Like, she was just kind of staying off the side, like, and I think that she, like, Agatha preemptively knew that was in the back of her head, and she was just
I
like,
think she started walking towards him.
Did she? Okay, I must have missed that. Because it just felt like Agatha, like, preemptively, like, don't even think about it. Like, put it out of your head. Like, that's not happening.
And then, I mean, we end the episode with more questions than answers, as is the case. But Rio says to Agatha, "That boy isn't yours." And
Yeah.
What does she mean by that?
Yeah.
Like, is it literally that isn't your son, and you protecting him with this motherly instinct out of guilt is pointless?
It's not doing anything.
Or is that not the son you think you remember? Or is it, what? I don't.
It could be a combination of those things, honestly.
Well, it's one or the other, so pick, Daniel.
No, I like to be in the middle.
It's multiple choice.
No, but I do think it kind of alludes to what I think Alyssa was saying before, that this kid is not hers, but she's like, this is like a second chance for her, and she's like, I'm gonna.
Well, I said that, but yeah.
I'm sorry, that's embarrassing.
Credit where credit is due, for God's sake.
No, let's credit Alyssa.
There's no way that Dino could have said
You're
that.
only allowed to credit women when we're talking about this show.
We're talking about this show, absolutely,
and or
right.
lesbians.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Correct.
I'm sorry. I will not speak.
So Ellen DeGeneres, she told me that
that it's definitely not her son.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that she definitely knows that something happened with her son, and she's just like, I am going to make that not happen with this kid, and that will sort of redeem my heart in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and Rio's throwing cold water on that by saying,
it's not going to bring your son
no,
back.
That's not going to work.
Yeah, your son's gone, and this is not your boy.
Yeah. And Agatha is like going in to kiss her.
And
then Rio says that. So that is ouchy too.
Yeah. Ooh. Yowzers.
Because like not only is she not kissing her, she's also being like,
your son is dead.
He's gone.
His son is not there.
Or that, yeah, like we talked about last week, potentially her Nicholas is long gone.
Yeah. McCavity's not there.
And that's
spooky.
That's the end of the episode.
Yeah. It I'm having a great time. And I actually, at the end of that episode in particular, I was like, oh man, I wish they weren't so short. And then I looked, I was like, oh wait, it was 44 minutes. It's like a normal episode.
Flew.
And
Yeah.
I was just, it really flew by. Yeah. Like these episodes are zipping by, which is a great sign.
It is great.
And I feel like after episode 4 in particular, I'm a lot more locked in.
Oh
I
yeah,
think-
yeah.
I
Because
think
I
that I
remember you
was
were sort of
initially.
iffy about it. Or not iffy, but you just didn't.
yeah, you're just
I
like
don't know,
not
it's like-
fully
It's like I don't know.
fully in yet. Yeah.
I don't know if this is my speed, but
But you're almost gay. You're getting pretty close.
Yeah, right. I'm definitely headed that direction.
Well, then our work here is working.
the
the-
gay
yes, the mind
agenda
virus
is
has-
very
no, I'm
in full
intrigued.
effect.
I'm intrigued by how they. Alyssa talked about how the
Agatha
kind of
Curious.
the fragmented nature of the storytelling, and I'm intrigued by
The mystery of it all.
Them kind of piecing the shards of their memories back
Yeah,
together.
it's
or
fun.
It's fun storytelling. And I'm looking forward to the next few episodes, especially like going back to that trailer and being like, oh wow, it's a lot that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's gonna get more dramatic and more
Oh, I would
Yes.
imagine for sure.
potentially even action packed. Yeah.
All right. Well, we've been yapping for an hour and 10 minutes, so I suppose we should probably get the hell off of this thing.
Yappity yap.
Right.
Don't talk back.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. We, if you want to tell us how you feel about Agatha All Along, you can.
Yeah.
Can
I mean, that
send
was
us an
great.
Instagram message or a comment on YouTube, whatever your gay heart desires.
Yeah.
Okay?
Also, like, if you have any ideas of like what is going on with Patti LuPone's character and what she's talking about, I would love to know your theories, because I think I'm the most intrigued about
You're-
like
yeah.
where she's going.
Yeah, I think we're going to get some answers next week.
I
hopefully.
hope so.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. This is Inside the Tauntaun. I'm Alyssa Simmons.
And I'm Daniel Dawson.
And I'm Dino Nicandros.
Mid-Force be with you.
Always.
Inside the Tauntaun podcast. Please like and subscribe.